Welcome back, folks, to Free to Prowl. And as the title states, we aren't out chasing critters. We're not fishing. We're not exploring our public lands. We are working on the truck. If you guys follow along, last year, you saw I built a sleeping platform. If you follow along on our social medias, Instagram and Facebook, you know that I sleep in my truck quite a bit on weekends, out hunting and fishing and exploring our public lands. It's a convenience. It's a benefit. It makes it more efficient. Allows me to go on more adventures, go a little bit farther, explore new places, just do more. Make my dollar go further, right? I don't have to pay for a hotel, don't have to pay for a campsite sometimes. So we can make that happen with this rig. This is a 2006 F150 super cab. Nothing real special, just a standard pickup truck. Put the camper shell on last year with the intention of making this sleeping platform. One thing you guys don't know though, and maybe if you do follow along on our social medias, you're like, how do you sleep in the back of your truck, in the cab? So in wintertime, I'll sleep in the cab of my truck here. I tore out my back seat last summer to try and test out this platform. It works out awesome. I designed it so it has space underneath that I can put a bow case, a rifle case, and a shotgun all underneath. Plenty of room, can slide them in and out, no problem. It also has a handy table. Can cook on this, set up your computer. I have a little taller, like director style fold out chair that you can sit here and do computer work. Get off me, bug. But yeah, I built this all last summer. I had some footage of it, ended up losing it. I have to pull this out to install some electrical stuff, so I'm going to show you guys how I built this platform, how I incorporated it, how I mounted it, and kind of the general design as I tear it out. We'll kind of do it in reverse, and you guys can see if you guys are interested in building a similar platform in the back of your truck, tearing out your back seat in a Ford super cab like this. So stay tuned. So here we have the three main pieces I built for the back platform. We have the back panel that goes against the back of the cab. Behind me, we actually have the platform, which you're seeing the bottom side of it with the table and the legs. And then we have the header beam. So really, it starts with this back panel. So this back panel is, I have this Reflectix insulation on the back. It's carpeted. It's cut to fit basically between the pillars. It actually goes like this. It's cut to fit between the pillars inside the truck. When we get it installed, you'll kind of see how that fits, but it uses the three mounting holes for those little car seat tethers. In the bottom, there's no mounts. It's held in by that bottom mounting header piece. So that's the gist of it. Just measured it, carpeted. It's a piece of 1/2-inch plywood with that Reflectix on the bottom of it. Set that aside. The second piece is this 2x6 and 2x4 header piece. You can see it's 3 layers. So basically, we're looking at the back of it that sits up against the cab, or the back of the cab. You have your bottom piece, which is one full 2x6. Then there's another 2x6 on top of it that's in 3 pieces. That's to allow you to get into your mounting hardware. I have recessed in here the stock mounting bolts that go to the seat studs. I just marked them, recessed them in there, and they just kind of hang out in there. You definitely need to recess them in there if you're going to make one this height, because your studs are not long enough to get through this 2x6. So that's why that's there. And then the top piece, that's actually what I screw the platform to. That is just to get to the necessary height I wanted to. So this, sitting on top of that back ledge, you'll see when we get in the truck, that's what makes the height. And that's what secures the back of this thing, and really secures the whole thing. I don't have any mounts on the front of this. It's basically just the legs. So I painted it black, so it kind of blends in when you see the front, when it's laying in there. It kind of blends in, looks good, doesn't look like junky wood. Now the platform is another thing. It's a little hard to get after here, but so basically we're looking at the bottom side of it. Cut this to fit the whole back seat, measured accordingly. Like I said before, I made those bump outs on the bottom here so you could lay your seat back. There's literally just 3 feet on the front, and it just holds it in place with pressure up against the center console and then sitting on the seat, or on the feet. This is obviously the table. If we can get into some more details of that, if you guys want to see that and how I built that, but it's basically just some extra plywood and 1x4s or 1x3s underneath here, a piece of edge glued pine, and then some legs. This is a bungee that keeps my legs from rattling around. There's some carpet up there just so you're not getting these bouncing, but because this platform's wood, and my back seat is literally wood, I mean, you can mount and do whatever you want, you know. That's the cool part about it. But like I said before, I had some better footage of how this thing went together, measurements, how I built it, but in the end it's just some 2x6s, 2x4s, carpet, plywood, screws, some spray adhesive for the carpet, and that's it. It's pretty simple, you know, but we'll get this thing thrown in there in the back of the truck and you guys can see how it all goes together, and hopefully that helps you get after doing something similar. All right, so we got the back panel here. You can see it's pretty, you know, raw back here without the back panel. So, you know, once you take everything out of your back seat, it gets a little bit noisy back here, so it's something, if you're really concerned about that, you might want to second guess this, but in the end, it's something that allows you to, or the Reflectix kind of dampens that down a little bit, just gives you another little bit of buffer plus a little bit of insulation as well. So, but the best way to do this, so I leave my seat belts installed and I just kind of run those out onto this platform, and when I get the toe of this back plate or back panel up there behind the studs, I'll just kind of pinch the seat belts in the corners, just so they stay in place and you're not dealing with them and they're not hanging down. So, and they're not rattling around like that, right? If you just left them hanging here, that would drive you freaking insane. So I'll just run some out for the seat belt. Then you can just throw this panel up there. It's not very heavy. You can deal with it pretty good, but yeah, like I said, just run those out. I make them kind of tight so they're not rattling around. And then once you have it in place here, you just got to kind of line up your holes. We're going to use the 3 existing mounting holes that are for those little tethers for mounting a or carrying a car seat. So Lord knows you're going to have 3 car seats back here. You need 3 tethers. So thankfully, just line them up. You're not building a frickin' skyscraper here. You don't need to get too robust or hammer on these too much, but it's just a stock 10 millimeter machine bolt here. Obviously, when I laid this out, I kind of marked where those were and drilled accordingly, and it worked out pretty good. So you'd have to do that on your own, obviously. All right, so the top, we're mounted. It's pretty simple. The bottom's loose. We'll take care of that with the mounting plate. We got the back piece in here. Just finishes it off real nice. Otherwise, you just see all of this bare metal and back of the cab, and it makes it noisy. So that's what we got there. But here you can see the stock studs to mount the seat. Right there, there's 4 of them. Disregard those. Those are just for mounting your jack, but we obviously had to relocate that because of what we did here. But this nice flat little stoop here, we're going to mount the header piece or the mounting bracket, or mounting whatever you want to call it, to these 4 bolts. As you can see, I kind of got the washers countersunk in here. They just kind of ride in here. You know, if I had to reinstall my seat, I got to pop them out, but it just works well to kind of pop them in there. We'll get this thrown up here and then we can ratchet her down. When you throw this up here, it's designed to keep the bottom of this back piece in. There's no mounts on the bottom of this back panel, so you kind of got to push it up there, get it in line, and then shove it back towards the back of the truck with your knee. Once you get it lined up, it should pop right in the holes. You might have to use a hammer to just tap it down.
Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
Now I'll just rattle those stock nuts in place and she'll be good. You don't have to get too crazy with them. You know, you're just trying to hold it down. There's not a lot of stress on this piece. So in order to get this platform in here, we just kind of tip it sideways, get it towards the front of the truck. I shove it up there, and then we kind of tip it back towards the back of the truck, working it forward. And then it just slides into place just like that. I mean, it's made to fit pretty much inside the pillars here and pretty tight to the center console. So it's solid. You know, it really can't go anywhere. Put a couple screws in the back here and she's good. Well, that's the gist of it. This is a handy little platform. If you guys are interested in doing something like this, you have any questions, comments, leave them down below in the comments section. We'll be sure to answer them. It's kind of however you want to lay it out. You know, you could do something that's a little bit narrower, so you still have some full floor space over here. You could maybe make it so your seats don't recline. Whatever you guys want to do, put mounting points in here. You know, I know a lot of guys who do stuff like this, make boxes and shelves and whatever. There's a lot more stuff that we're going to probably incorporate into this for future use, just because I don't use my back seat. I don't need to have it in here, so this thing can permanently stay in here. It does come out pretty easy. I had to, after I put this in midsummer, I had to pull it out because I drove to Idaho for mule deer hunting with the group that we were hunting with. I offered to drive, and literally it probably takes 20 minutes, a half hour to pull this out, put the seats in, and reverse. You know, I just leave the seats covered up in my garage so they're not getting ruined, and you have them if you ever want to resell them. As a hunter and a fisherman, especially being a single guy with no family, this platform right here is just, it's so handy. Just throw my gear in here. I can leave it right around in here, you know, even during the week when I'm at work. It's just, you got all the room, covered room, and like I said, sleeping in here is awesome, especially in the winter when it's cold outside and you got to have a little bit of heat from running the truck. So if you guys have questions or comments, leave them below in the comments section. If you guys are new here, please hit that subscribe button. You know, we like doing little projects like this, little DIY stuff, making things more efficient for hunting and fishing, showing you guys how to do stuff, but we also like exploring the outdoors, so be sure to check out those other videos if you're new here and you came here for this. We hunt, we fish, explore public lands, and we love doing it, so please hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, don't forget, you are free to prowl, and we'll catch you on the next one.